right now is the real test when you are holding your applause. Remember the practice that we did? Our speaker number 1, Kweku Nduom. They call me Tony Soprano. They call me Tony Soprano. Kweku Nduom.
My name is Kweku Nduom, but they call me Tony Soprano. I've gotten a lot of questions about that nickname over the years, and so far I've managed to avoid having to tell the story. But today, I've decided to stop running from the truth. You can think of it as my true Hollywood story. The year was 1998. The place, Africa. Africa. The setting was the home of Esinam Abacha, the most beautiful girl in the village. She lived with her charming mother and her father, a man as frighteningly terrifying as his daughter was beautiful. They would tell us that this man was so scary that he had a bear on his living room floor. But it wasn't dead. It was afraid to move. This man was so deadly that he was once bitten by a rattlesnake. And after 3 days of pain and suffering, the snake died. This man was so powerful that once in battle he threw a grenade and killed 50 people, and then the grenade exploded. My second grade teacher used to tell us, when God passed out common sense, he sure missed a few of y'all. While I was sitting in the living room of this Major General, in my Sunday best, waiting to ask for the hand of his youngest daughter, I couldn't help but think she was talking directly to me. When he walked in the room, the very sound of his voice nearly made me pass out. "Welcome, my boy. I trust you are well. Come, let's go for a walk." I looked over at Esinam, looking for some sort of sign. "Oh, God, are you deaf?" I said, "Get up, let's go." So I started to follow him, and I looked back. "Where are we going?" She was like, "I don't know." I went, "Great, I'm going to die." Did you say something?" "No." He started walking up the stairs, and he began his speech. When a man has a daughter, and that daughter turns 18, and young men start approaching that daughter, there are 2 things involved. He can either encourage the relationship, or he can discourage the relationship. If he encourages the relationship, everyone is safe. If he discourages the relationship, there are 2 things involved. He can either discourage it with psychology, or he can discourage it with violence. We got to the top of the steps, we started walking. If he discourages it with psychology, everyone is safe. If he discourages it with violence, there are 2 things involved. He can either discourage it with his hands, and he pointed to one wall, where you saw certificates and pictures of his success as captain of the Nigerian Air Force boxing team. Or he can use a gun. And he points to the other wall, and you see certificates of proficiency at sharpshooting and marksmanship. If he uses his hands, everyone is safe. Well, at least nobody dies, except for that one time, and that was an accident. If he uses a gun, there are 2 things involved. He can either shoot at the extremities, or he can shoot at the core, and he bangs me on the chest like this, at the core. So we had reached the end of the hallway, and there was a window. "I want you to look out that window and tell me what you see." So I glance out the window, and I see 6 mounds of dirt, each with a solitary white flower at the head. And I saw 2 young men busy digging a 7th hole. So I look at the Major General and say, "I can see I'm the 7th person to come and ask for the hand of your daughter." "You are a smart, funny boy. I like that. Come, let's eat." So we went down to dinner. Dinner was wonderful. So wonderful, in fact, that I hardly noticed that at the end of dinner, his plate had been replaced with a gun. So dinner's over, he gets up, he says, "Now that we have finished dinner, there are two things involved. You can either agree to leave here and never look at, talk to, holler at, chat with, text message, or otherwise interact with my daughter, or you can refuse. If you agree, everyone is safe. If you refuse, well, as you can see from outside, I prefer shooting at the core. Ha ha ha. So I had a decision to make. I said, well, to myself, I can't leave this place. I need to stand up, fight for my girl, and die like a man if I have to. So I stood up and I said, "Major General, I refuse." And before the folly of my statement even reached my brain, I was looking down the barrel of the Major General's shotgun, and he pulled the trigger. And I did the first thing that came to me. I closed my eyes, I covered up, and I screamed like a little girl. There were no bullets in that shotgun. When I opened my eyes and started checking for holes, the Major General was on the floor laughing. I looked over for some support from Essena, and she was on the floor laughing. Uncles and cousins started appearing from behind the curtains and under the couch. There were cameras, microphones. This turned out to be an initiation into the family. Essena had 3 other sisters, and I met their husbands, Tommy Tenor, Bobby Bass, and Joey Alto. And I got my nickname in honor of my ability to hit such a high note in such a stressful situation. My name is Kweku Nduom, but they call me Tony Soprano.